Hey everybody, wanted to show you another thing I'm working on the original Boston building. I've mentioned this before. I'm actually on the wrong side of the building, be over on this side. There is the name across here. Now I realized looking at the building from my office the other day that I actually created an error on this building. So you can see this top little transition piece. There, between this kind of half window and this window, there is actually supposed to be a full space. And the name of the Boston building goes up there. But since I don't have that space, I'm going to fit it in right here. I've also been working on that upstairs because I didn't want to try and figure it out here. And the problem with this space is I am constrained. This is 24 studs wide, but I have to keep the tan here and I want to keep the edge here. So I had to make my letters 22 studs across. The only thing I could fit is the word Boston. Couldn't get anything else. Tried a SNOT build, but it was too tall because in order to do a B with a SNOT build, you have to have essentially 5 spaces, and I only have, what is that? That's 3 studs and 1 plate that are in between there. So I was very constrained by space, but I will show you what I did upstairs. Okay, hopefully the phone won't ring next time I try and film this little video. Anyways, here's my next project, the lettering. As I mentioned downstairs, I wanted to work on it up here because I didn't want to have this, spend all this time and then have it not work out essentially. And then I'm constrained to 22 studs. So I started with these plates because I wanted to make sure it fit and I wanted to make sure it had a tan edge all the way around it. And this lettering is technically supposed to be white, but I figure the tan is light enough. And I have all these tan pieces, obviously. I don't have all the white pieces, and I hate buying small pieces, even though I'm going to have to buy a whole bunch more black. Anyways, the problem that I had is I have 6 letters across here, and then in order to keep them spaced evenly and get them the right size, I had to use jumper plates. So every other letter is on a jumper plate. And the big issue was the B. As you can see here with the S, I have to have a space. I had to go 3 studs because the space has to be there in order to create the bubbles for the B's. And it created some issues, as did the fact that the jumper plates created dead spaces because you can't match, or at least it's really hard to match up a jumper plate with a regular build and keep it all consistent. Now, to hide that problem, what I've done is, this is one of my O's. Here will be the top. No, that's the top of the B. Here's one of the tops of the O's. So that's the O. And it'll have a jumper plate on top to realign the top of it. What I did is I did a SNOT build and put a tile on the side. And so this one goes right here. This O will go here. S will go there. And, you know, it actually works fairly well. The N was kind of tricky too. I'm like, how do I get a diagonal there and make it look like a real N? I think that's okay. And I staggered it like this in order to use some black wedge pieces in there to hide the gap. I think ultimately it'll hide fairly well anyways. But the B was again a challenge. I'll move my O because in order to get the B right, I had to have pieces floating. So here's the side of it, and as you'll notice right there, I have a full brick here, but only a tile here. I think overall it's going to be okay because it has to be okay. So, but in order to get the floating piece of the B for the bubble and to keep on this build, I had to put a jumper plate back here and then line that one up that way to create what will be the B. Then I didn't like, technically, if I left it like that, I would have a gap back here that would actually show all the way through the building. I didn't like that. So I'm actually going to drop this jumper plate down a level, and then it will be able to hide the gap by filling that in completely. So you won't be able to see all the way through the build. And then I'll continue by putting, black pieces here to hide any of the extra gaps that are between these tiles. And I think by doing that, it will hide everything sufficiently that you won't notice this. I think it ends up being a quarter plate or something gap in between the letters, and you'll only very slightly be able to see the edge, but I think just kind of looking at it, you won't notice it very well. And then again, this will be the top of the B. This will be, I think this is the T. So there's the T. And then I'll finish this up once I get some pieces. I have to buy a whole bunch of 1x1 black plates. I need about 100 of them for not only this, but for the fire escape. And I hate buying little tiny pieces on Bricklink because not only is the cost prohibitive, but the shipping kills you. Anyways, you'll have to let me know what you think of this, and if anybody has any ideas to tighten it up, I'd love to know, but I can't figure them out. Anyways, see you next time.